And hello, it is I, Mr. Viking, and I want to thank you for joining me for my very first reintroduction. Hmm. Let me just quickly go over about my my want for this channel. This channel is going to be dedicated to helping men and women to become more free, to establish independence and um, self-reliance, self-responsibility. I want people to move beyond the simple notion that there are those who are willing to help them as they rob them. I live in the United Kingdom, on the edge of London in the eastern sector, and I will have to tell you that I am so deeply disappointed in what we've been exposed to the past 3, 4 years as we see a fake conservative government behave in such an authoritarian style. We've been exposed to individuals who have pushed um, solutions that needed to be injected into our bodies to deal with something that our bodies could very well handle. Don't get me wrong. There are individuals who certainly were at risk, but viruses do what viruses do. And the reality is that there is no true overcoming. There's no solution that can be created and then injected into our arms that will make everyone safe. Many reports indicate that there's a great portion of people who were severely harmed and worse, killed by the solution that was offered. So we've had people with so little knowledge who wanted to tell me, a man who's been responsible for his own health care um, for the past 30, 40 years, as anytime I would visit a doctor and they would want to write a prescription for stuff that I figured, well, there's a natural solution to most illnesses. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a big believer of science. I believe that science offers many solutions and certainly makes life a simpler and less complicated thing. It gives us the advances in science has contributed to the improvement in life. But we saw something that was rushed and forced upon the population of the planet. And people who did not wish to participate in the experiment or chose to participate in the, because I do figure I am one of those who participated in the experiment by not taking the solution, because you have to have a blind test. And so I'm one who did not take it. I caught this legendary disease once, maybe twice, and I survived. I should maybe reveal that my age. I'm 56 years old, and I did consider at the time that I caught it that, at one point, one day, 1 hour of one day, it absolutely kicked my ass. But I recovered. And as I continue to communicate with people today who have had 4 or 5 jabs and they've had COVID 4 or 5 times, I'm thinking, well, I thought it was supposed to, the vaccine was supposed to have stopped. It was supposed to have stopped COVID in its tracks for those who took the vaccine. So much harm has been done, much damage has been done, and caused by those whose simple desire was to extract wealth from us. So, my friends, I have set up this channel. I have numerous channels, but this one in particular I have settled upon to help to make lives of the people who listen, the people that I want to steer towards this channel, make their lives easier. So again, I live in a country that is I consider to be a marvelous one. I'm originally from Bermuda, and I have spent time in New York. I lived in New York as a young child, and spent a lot of time there in my youth. I love Toronto. Toronto is a beautiful place. I have a beautiful big son who lives in Toronto as well, and I would have settled there, except that Toronto I find just too cold. Too cold. Again, someone from Bermuda. I grew up being blessed and kissed by the sun. And I ended up in the Netherlands for a short period of time. And after I left the Netherlands, I came to London. And I decided to give London a shot. And I have to tell you that London really appeals to so much of me. So, as someone who comes from a country that is still a colony of Britain, and someone who supported independence for my country, I desired a greater freedom where we wrote legislation that did not need to be stamped or approved by someone who lives thousands of miles away, the members of parliament or the royal family. At the time, we had a queen. Now we have, well, somebody has a king. I am still a Republican at heart. So I don't necessarily accept this notion, these ideas that there is someone who is my king. I have one king, and that is my creator. I have one queen, and that was my mother. But now I'm still in the season of finding a queen. As I am a divorced man, this is the reason why I left the Netherlands and I settled here because it was the end of a relationship. So it is. The channel, this channel was set out to help people to deal with the issues of relationship. I want to take a few journeys concerning the importance of relationship, how it is we can achieve a very this dangerous word happiness, satisfaction, or contentment. But the same should also apply with your relationships, not just relationships with people, but relationships with money and wealth creation, relationships with society, relationships with yourself. I have a keen interest in psychology and philosophy and in helping people to achieve understanding that they are far, far more valuable than just some vessel that consumes things. The day you were given the chance to enter this earth, you've been waiting in the sidelines, waiting for your turn, waiting to be born. Each and every one of us was waiting to be born. And when you arrived here, you were given a task. You were given a selection of atoms. I own these atoms. And on my birth, I was destined to control my atoms, to move my atoms from place to place, to recognize that I am indeed an intelligent being and that I am surrounded by intelligent beings, which means I'm surrounded by intelligence. And when intelligent beings forget how intelligent they are, and then they rely strictly upon their emotions, upon their state of well-being, they place too much emphasis on their emotions and on their well-being and forget that they have an intelligence to exercise. So I have met men who are keen for self-deletion, and that comes in many forms. There are those who take a more direct route and they will lay themselves on train tracks or jump off of bridges or drive cars into ravines, into ditches. And there are those who take a less direct route and they will drink their liver away, drink their brain cells away. They will harm themselves. They will distance themselves from friends and family. They will take products that make them non productive. And some of these products are illegal, but many of these products are quite legal. Can you imagine that children are now being placed on medications so that they can be less like children? We want to make them less human. We want to turn them into automatons while the system wants to turn them into good little boys and girls instead of boys and girls who are rambunctious and, I hate this word, cheeky, but willing to be a nuisance, to explore. Again, which also makes the work of the adult um, less meaningful because we don't develop the tools or the skills to communicate to our children that there's a certain way that they need to behave. And then we know that some of the effects of these SSRIs, these mind altering, these mind bending chemicals, are resulting in a lot of problems in society. We have a breakdown, we have a disconnect. So as a man of color, I also, I'm quite aware that there are, concerns because there's an immediate thing when someone is in your community who is of another color. Well, you can so quickly assign them or assign the fact that they are not really a member of your tribe, and that's okay. I am still a civilized, intelligent human being, and I have an expectation that for everyone that I meet, that they will also be intelligent and civilized. So as simple as that. So when we are born, we are set with the task of controlling our atoms. So I say those things to say this: what are you going to do with your atoms? What is your journey? What will be your mark in life? I was listening to a program just the other day, and the simple fact is, where they said the simple fact is that in 100 years' time, we'll all be dead. In I can safely say that anyone who was born this very day, the 21st of March, 2024, in 100 years' time, I'll go 110, by the year 2134, 35, they will be gone. So anyone I share the planet with today, in 110 years' time, there is a great likelihood that they will have left this planet. So this channel will also challenge the powers that be, their narratives, their storylines, the lies that they tell, the dishonesty, their greed. We know about the individuals and groups that want our wealth. Where we live in a society where the rate of taxation, and I'm talking about the United Kingdom, the rate of taxation is off the charts. Inflation is crippling. We have a government that is supposedly conservative, and I consider them all to be members of the Uni Party. They're communists, Marxists, these Marxists who we want to swap out every 4 or 5 years. We we have to contend with. These Marxists want us to go to war. They want us to go fight against those who I have no rock with. I don't have any issues with Putin. I'm not afraid of Putin. Why is it that these people who are demanding that they receive a 5% raise, the RMPs going from 88,000 a year to something like 91, something, some ridiculous sum of money, 96, 90 something, depending on what role they have. They lack the skill to talk to someone, but they want to give us fare. We have clowns to be afraid, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. That's why lockdown was successful. They sowed the seeds of fear. They want to sow the seeds of fear for about concerning Russia. Putin is doing what he sees fit to do. Um, the Ukrainians, this dude Zelensky, he could have made a different choice when he ran for election. When he won that election, he won it because he said he was going to establish peace between Russia and Ukraine. Well, he forgot. And today he's not even president. He's suspended elections. His term is up. And he made it illegal for anyone to negotiate with Russia, having lost 500,000 citizens, people, men, 500,000 men who gave their lives to satisfy the West, to satisfy Boris at the time. And now Rushi, as they push this story about how bad, how very bad the Slavs are. Unfortunately, the people of this country, their eyes are opening up. And they can see, they can tell, simply because the moat in the eyes of these clowns is a big plank. You know, we overpay for electricity, we overpay for transportation, we're being taxed to breathe the air. How is that fair? How is that acceptable? I say that it is not. So, my friends, I want to encourage you to tune into my channel. I want you to come. Let's talk about relationships. Let's talk about money and making money. I want to provide you with ideas and opportunities to take advantage of the great equalizer, the internet. You know, what is the usefulness of having faith if you're not prepared to do the work? What is the point of you being born if you do nothing worthy with your life? If you're forgotten in 110 years from now, if you've left the planet from 110 years from now, what have you left behind? How have you lived? Is your life a complete one? Is it a happy one? Is it one that you can maybe write a great book about, someone to speak about? Even if it's not for the masses, it could be for those that you love, the life that you choose to live, the moves that you make. These things are of great importance. So I want to help you to make a lot of money. I think it is a mark of success. I know that it is a mark of success. I want to help you be happy in your relationships, in your friendships. I also want you to learn how to be a happy person when you're alone. How it is you should take time to think and meditate. How you should continuously learn. How it is you should study the world around you and the world within. So, all these things, my friends, are things I want to share with you, to travel with you, to embark on a grand experiment, a journey. So, I have many plans for this year. I have many more plans for my life. Like I said, I'm 56 years old, and I know there is going to come a day when I will not be able to proceed, when I might be glued to a bed, stuck in a chair, sitting up in an old folks' home, dribbling. But that is not my concern today. So, what is the point of your birth if you do nothing with it? This is a great verse in the Bible. I'm just going to finish up with this. It says that faith without works is dead. Faith without work is dead. It's pointless. So far too many want to pray and just hope that the universe delivers. But my friends, I say, you're going to put in a little bit of work. You need to be able to process your emotions. It takes work. You need to be able to understand that pain is the other side of joy, and you have to take it. We shouldn't numb our feelings. Faith without works is dead. I want you to tune in, join me. This is my pilot. I say goodbye, and I'll see you next time. Live your life well.